9 experienced hikers entered the Ural Mountains on the night of February 1st, 1959. None of them made it out alive. But it wasn't the cold that killed them. It wasn't an avalanche. It wasn't anything the Soviet Union was willing to explain. And for 30 years, the Wemkasundornam, they made sure nobody asked. Where night keeps its records, Noxara grave note, where the stories that were never meant to surface finally do. I'm your narrator, and today we open one of history's most disturbing unsolved files. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student from the Ural Polytechnical Institute. He was experienced, methodical, the kind of person you trusted with your life in the wilderness. The team of 9 had trekked routes like this before. They were well equipped, well trained, and in good spirits. Their destination, the summit of Ural Mountain, a name that in the local Mansi language roughly translates to "don't go there." They went anyway. When rescue teams finally reached the campsite on February 26th, what they found made no sense. The tent had been sliced open from the inside. The hikers had fled into -30-degree temperatures wearing nothing but their sleeping clothes. No boots, no coats, no explanation. Their bodies were found scattered across the slope. Some had climbed a tree so high their hands were shredded. Others showed signs of massive internal trauma, broken ribs, crushed skulls, with no external wounds. The official Soviet report stated the cause of death as an unknown compelling force. That was all they ever said. Over the decades, investigators, journalists, and historians have proposed dozens of explanations. An avalanche, but the snow pattern didn't match and none of the bodies showed burial injuries. A military weapons test, possible, given that radiation traces were found on several items of clothing. The Soviet government never commented on that detail. Infrasound, a theory suggesting that wind patterns in the mountains created a frequency that triggered uncontrollable panic, mass hysteria, a flight response so powerful it overrode every survival instinct. And then there is the detail that rarely makes it into official reports. Witnesses in the region reported seeing orange spheres of light above the mountain that night. Multiple witnesses, independently. The Soviet Union classified those reports the following morning. In 2019, Russian investigators reopened the case for the first time in 60 years. Their conclusion: a snow slab avalanche. Most researchers who have studied the case disagree, because an avalanche doesn't explain the radiation, it doesn't explain the orange lights, and it certainly doesn't explain why 9 trained hikers chose to die in the freezing dark rather than stay inside their tent. For more than 60 years, the Dyatlov Pass incident has remained trapped between fact and speculation. 9 experienced hikers entered the mountains. 9 lives ended there. And despite decades of investigations, reports, and official conclusions, the most important question remains unanswered. What frightened them enough to leave the safety of their tent in the middle of a frozen night? Perhaps the answer was buried beneath the snow. Perhaps it was hidden inside classified Soviet files. Or perhaps some mysteries are never meant to be solved. The mountain remains silent, the evidence remains incomplete, and the truth may still be waiting in the darkness. Dyatlov Pass has no answer, only silence, and a government that preferred it that way. If this case disturbed you as much as it disturbs me, subscribe, because next week we go further into the files that were never meant to open. Leave a comment below with your theory. Was it an avalanche? A military experiment? Or something else entirely? Until next time, stay curious and stay in the shadows.